Good day everyone, my name is Marty Orlaza and I am grade 12 J. Verified. Today, we will watch A Beautiful Mind. The movie opens at Princeton University in September 1947. We get our first glimpse of John Nash. John Nash arrived at Princeton University as a new graduate student. He is a recipient of the prestigious Carnegie Prize for Mathematics. Though he has promised a single room, his roommate Charlie is a literature student. Greet him as he moves in and soon becomes his best friend. Nash also meets a group of other promising math and science graduate students. Martin Hansen, Sol, Enslen, and Bender, with whom he strikes up an awkward friendship. Nash admits to Charlie that he is better with numbers than people. We see an unsuccessful attempt of Nash at conversation with a girl at the local bar. The girl suggests John that he buy her a drink. John responds by propositioning her, inviting her to have fluid exchange, and the girl is love him. Nash is seeking a truly original idea for his thesis paper and he is under increasing pressure to develop his thesis so he can begin work. A particularly harsh rejection from a woman at the bar is what ultimately inspired his fruitful work in the concept of governing dynamics, a theory in mathematical economics. After the conclusion of Nash studies as a student at Princeton, accept a prestigious appointment at the Massachusetts Institution of Technology, along with his friend Sol and Bender. 5 years later, while teaching a class on calculus at MIT, he places a particular interesting problem on the chalkboard that he dares his student to solve. When his student Alicia Lardy comes to his office to discuss the problem, the two fall in love and eventually marry. On a return visit to Princeton, Nash runs into his former roommate Charles and meets Charles' young niece Marcy, whom he adores. He also encounters a mysterious Department of Defense agent William Parcher. Nash is invited to a secret United States Department of Defense facilities in Pentagon to crack a complex encryption of an enemy telecommunication. Nash is able to decipher the code mentally to the astonishment of other code breakers. Parcher observed Nash's performance from above while partially concealed behind the screen. Parcher gives Nash a new assignment to look for patterns in magazine and newspaper, ostensibly to rout a Soviet plot. He must write a report of his findings and place them in a specified mailbox. After being chased by the Russian and an exchange of gunfire, Nash becomes increasingly paranoid and begins to behave erratically. After observing this erratic behavior, Alicia informs a psychiatric hospital. Later, while delivering a guest lecture at Harvard University, Nash realizes that he is being watched by a hostile group of people. Although he attempts to flee, he is forcibly sedated and sent to a psychiatric facility. Nash's internment seemingly confirms his belief that the Soviets were trying to extract information from him. He views the officials of the psychiatric facilities as Soviet kidnappers. Alicia, desperate to help her husband, visits the mailbox and retrieves all of the never opened top secret document that Nash had delivered there. When confronted with this evidence, Nash is finally convinced that he has been hallucinating. The Department of Defense agent William Parcher and Nash's secret assignment to decode Soviet messages was in fact all a delusion. Even more surprisingly, Nash's friend Charles and his niece Marcy are also only product of Nash's minds. After a painful series of insulin shock therapy sessions, Nash is released on the condition that he agreed to take antipsychotic medication. However, drugs create negative side effects that affect his relationship with his wife. and most dramatically his intellectual capacity. Frustrated, Nash secretly stopped taking his medication and hoards his pills, triggering a relapse of his psychosis. While bathing his infant son, Nash becomes distracted and wanders off. Alicia is hanging laundry in the backyard and observes that the back gate is open. She discovered that Nash has turned an abandoned shade and a nervy grove of trees into an office for his work preparatory. Upon realizing what has happened, Alicia runs into the house to confront Nash and barely saved their child from drowning in the bathtub. When she confronts him, Nash claims that his friend Charles was watching their son. Alicia runs to the phone to call a psychiatrist's hospital for emergency assistance. Parches urges Nash to kill his wife, but Nash angrily refuses to do such a thing. After arguing with Parcher, Nash accidentally knocks Alicia to the ground. Afterward, Alicia placed the house in fear with their child, but Nash stepped in front of her car to prevent her from leaving. After a moment, Nash realizes that Marcy is a figment of his hallucination because she has remained the same age since the day he met her. He tells Alicia she never gets old. Only then does he accept that all three people are in fact part of his hallucination. Caught between the intellectual paralysis of the antipsychotic drug and his delusions, Nash and Alicia decide to try to live with his abnormal condition. Nash consciously says goodbye to the three of them forever in his attempts to ignore his hallucination and not feed his demon. However, he thanks Charles for being his best friend over the years and says a tearful goodbye to Marcy, stroking her hair and calling her baby girl, telling them both he wouldn't speak to them anymore. Nash grows older and approaches his old friend and intellectual rival Martin Hansen, now head of Princeton Mathematics Department, who grants him permission to work out of the library and audit classes. Though the university will not provide him with his own office, Nash still suffers from hallucination and mentions taking newer medication. He is ultimately able to live with and largely ignore his psychotic episodes. He takes his situation in stride and humorously checks to ensure that any new acquaintances are in fact real people, not hallucination. Nash eventually earns the privilege of teaching again. He is honored by his fellow professor for his achievement in mathematics and goes on to win the Nobel Memorial Prize in Economics for his revolutionary work on game theory. Nash and Alicia are about to leave the auditorium in Stockholm when John says Charles, Marcy, and Parcher are standing and smiling. Alicia asks John what's wrong. John replies nothing. With that, they both leave the auditorium, and the movie ends here. Beautiful Mind is a complex and intriguing film that raises philosophical questions about the nature of reality and the human experience. The movie, based on the true story of John Nash, a brilliant mathematician, explores the themes of madness and genius and psychological toll of living a life of delusion. The film also explores the power of love and friendship in overcome personal struggles and the impact of mental health on the individual and those around them. And also, I like this movie because many people appreciate A Beautiful Mind. Its compelling storytelling, powerful performances, and the portrayal of mathematical genius John Nash's life and struggles.